made a fun to go against tier list in a while, and there's a couple of new killers that have come out. And last time I did it, it was super jank, and it was like I tried to combine overall and just make it a fun tier list in general, and combine how fun it is to go against and how fun it is to play. But I think those values are just simply too different, so I can't. I feel like I just can't do that anymore. So I'm just going to do fun to go against tier list, and then we can have a separate fun to play tier list. But trying to average those together is just, it's too hard. So this is going to be solely from the perspective of Survivor going against killers. So let us start with Trapper. Trapper is still pretty shit, no? I feel like Trapper is still like D or C tier. I wouldn't say he's F. You know what? I'm going to say Trapper's D tier. Trapper is the perfect example of how just because a killer is weak doesn't mean that it's fun to go against. Just because the killer's strong doesn't mean they're boring to go against. People always make that argument that you just hate a strong male killer that doesn't need no woman or something like that. It's just, it's the form of the counterplay. What are you going to see most times when you go against a Trapper? What's it going to be? Someone goes down in the basement, and then the entire fucking game just takes place in the basement. And then it's not a good time. Because, yeah, as soon as someone goes in the basement, it's just the entire game becomes, hey, look, Trapper's camping the basement. And you can't really do much about that. It's nearly impossible to actually stop a Trapper from guaranteeing kills in the basement. So that is very boring. Additionally, the actual gameplay itself, does the killer being bad affect them? No, it's just the fun to go against. How fun is it? You go to a trap, or you go to a loop, you run around it, and there's a trap in some tall grass that is physically impossible to see, and you step in it and your chase is over. It's not fun. What are you supposed to do? Just guess every single place that there's a trap? You can't do that. There's nothing fun about Trapper, like, at all. And it's suffering playing him as him as well, so. Poor poster boy of the game has gotten such bad treatment. You can just rush the gens and then leave? Right, which is super fucking boring, so still D tier. Yeah, that is the correct counterplay. You essentially just let the guy die on purpose in the basement, but then you're just doing gens and leave with 0 killer interaction, so still boring. Trying to disarm a trap in front of the exit gate, but the prompt lashes to the exit gate first. Oh, and then snaps you into the trap. Yeah, that's very fun. I've had that happen before. Yeah, Trapper's D tier. Not very fun. Wraith. I'd say Wraith is probably... Chase Wraith is like B for me. Hit and run is C. I'd say most of them probably do hit and run, so I'm going to say probably C. Hey, Glowing Raven, thank you for the 9 months.
Cheers.
I'm going to say C tier because most Wraiths play hit and run. They put on Sloppy Butcher. They won't actually chase you. There's very little actual killer interaction. I think Chase Race is really fun. Yeah, because then they're actually trying to whip around loops, and you have to guess which way they're going to swing around the loop, and that can be pretty fun. But most Wraiths, I'm just going to go for the average here. They don't play like that. They play pretty sweaty, and they will just hit and run. You will never actually get chased by a Wraith ever. They will only hit you when they can get a sneak attack on you, which, again, is smart. I don't blame the players for doing that. That's the correct optimal strategy for Wraith, but it is not very fun to go against, so I'd say he's just sort of meh. I think C tier is pretty fine. Hey, Skolas, what's up? Billy. I'd say Billy used to be S tier, but I feel like he's kind of A now because he has gotten so much stronger than what he used to be that there's a small component that does matter of how much shit you can do against them, but a good Billy, like, you're kind of just going to get shit on. But it's still really fun to, like, try to dodge the hits and stuff like that. So I would say S tier back when he was weaker, but he's still, just because he's stronger doesn't really mean that, you know, he's still fun to go against. So I think this is, yeah, I think A tier is fine now. B, because the buff made him more appealing to toxic players. While that's true, they did lower the skill ceiling. I still don't see that many toxic Billies, to be honest. I do see them, but toxic players are usually going to be like your Chuckies, your Draculas. Like, you know, I typically don't associate even current Billy with super sweat and toxicity, so I think A is fine. Nurse. A bad nurse is like B tier. A good nurse is like F tier. You know what? I'm actually going to put nurse in C. And the reason is that the nurse is bad, it's actually really fun. If the nurse is good, then your game ends in 3 minutes, so whatever. It's not a big deal anyway. It's like your game is going to be over really fast, so you don't have to suffer for very long. Not even just bad nurse, just like okay nurse. It's like Nurse is like right here for me. It's like right in between, and I don't know. Just because she's been nerfed a lot doesn't mean she's still obviously not the most broken killer in the game. But at least if you're going to die to a Nurse, it's usually over very fast. And that's probably why I would keep it at C. Because the ones that are, like, you know, D and F tier, they're the ones that force you to keep staying in the match where you're miserable. This is just ripping off a Band-Aid. I'd rather go against Nurse than Trapper. Unironically, yes, I would. I would rather go against Nurse. Yeah. I'm sure you could argue D there, but I'm going to go C for now. Myers. Myers is honestly probably D tier. Myers fucking sucks to go against. It's either going to be a Tombstone player, which is super engaging, or it's going to be someone that just plays normally and they 99 you behind a corner and you just go down again with no counterplay. It doesn't mean the Myers is going to win. It just means individually for someone that gets 99 after he sucks off your teammate, that is the pinnacle of just, oh, cool. Like when that happens, you're like, yay. I had 1 second to react to his, you know, to his 8-meter tear radius with monitor, and now I'm just dead. So it's not exactly super fun. And not to mention most of them run Tombstone Piece anyway, at which point he can essentially just face camp someone on a hook, they self-unhook into instant kill, and that's just like, cool. Mostly it's Tombstone that puts him down here. Regular Myers is probably a C tier, but Tombstone being so accessible is just, yeah, Myers sucks ass to go against. Hag, God, I go against, it's like once every 3 weeks, but not even that, like 3 months. Yeah, she's basically just more boring Trapper. I'm just going to stick her next to Trapper. Hag is miserable to go against, but luckily no one really plays Hag, so I don't really have to account for it. I wouldn't say she's F. She's very close to F, but I wouldn't say she's F. Chag is like fucking S tier, but I'm going to say D tier. Doctor is... I'd say he's like B or C. You can still use loops, but you're still gonna get hit eventually as he etches closer and closer to you. But there's opportunities to do things. There's things to dodge. Like, I'd say I don't really ever mind going against Doctor ever. I'm not like stoked to go against them, but I'm like, all right, whatever. I'd say probably is like B. That's probably fine. Huntress. I really like going against Huntress. I would put her probably under Billy. I know a lot of people don't like Huntress, and especially with the desync right now. With the desync right now, she's probably like here, to be honest. But assuming a normal functional game, I'd say she's... I really enjoy going against Huntress. But the hitbox issues and lag does stop her from being higher. So I'd say she goes right there. It's probably because I played a lot of Huntress, you know, growing up in my youth. So I have a soft spot for her. But I genuinely enjoy Huntress counterplay. I think it's pretty fun. Bubba. Bubba, I'm not gonna lie, is S tier. I fucking love going against Bubba. Even if he face camps, I love going against Bubba. I don't know. Bubba can essentially do no wrong. I don't care what he does. I'm always having a good time when I see that adorable little bitch trotting around with his little cart. I'm always happy to see a Bubba every single game. I will never, ever be upset seeing a Bubba. Again, even if he's straight up Insidious face camps, I don't care. Something about him, he's just adorable, man. And the actual, like, counterplay in Chase is really fun, too. You basically, like, when you get to a window, you have to 50-50 the window. If you guess wrong, he downs you. If you guess right, then he can't make it around again. I don't know. I think Bubba is super fun to go against. I love Bubba. Freddy is, I mean, probably B or C. I'm going to say B because he doesn't do anything. he's just essentially a no-power default 1v1 cowshed killer. So I still get to play the game. I still get to use all my perks. I get to loop him. He doesn't really have any strong anti-loop. I mean, I get to play normal DBD for me, so I don't really ever mind going against Freddy. Again, not particularly fun, but also not unfun either. It's just a no-power killer, pretty much. Can that be the same as Wraith? No, because Wraith is actually annoyingly strong doing hit and run. Freddy can't really do that. Wraith doesn't really ever chase you. He just only hits you out of stealth when you're on an objective where you can't see him coming. That's the smart way to play him. But Freddy can't really do that. Freddy can't sneak up on you in any way. You can hear the lullaby coming and know he's approaching, but he can't really hit and run you, no. Piggly Wiggly. I don't mind Pig, actually. This might be a hot take. I think she's B. I think countering ambush in a chase can be pretty fun. You have to call whether or not she's going to 180. The traps are not really that big of a deal anymore, and they remove the full Fear of the Darkness, like Scream build and stuff like that with double crate, so I actually like going against Pig. I do think some pigs are pretty annoying, and they will just throw the entire match to fuck one guy over in particular for some reason. There's some cursed pigs that do that, but for the most part, I'm never really upset to go against pig. Clown is pretty miserable to go against. There's essentially nothing fun about Clown whatsoever. No, F tier is for like, literally F tier is like old skull merchant. I don't even think anything is going to be F tier. We'll see though. Clown is absolutely shit though. Clown is, there's nothing to Clown. Run to pallet, pre-drop it. 50-50 vault the pallet back and forth because you can't run around it again, because if you yellow gas is one side, pink gas is the other side, you can't loop it around again. So you have to just 50-50 the pallet vault over and over again. That's it. There's no other gameplay there. It's really boring. Spirit. Maybe a hot take. I kind of like going against Spirit. Honestly, I might even put her in A tier now. She actually has legitimate counterplay. But a good Spirit will still shit on you. Not A, come on. I don't know, man. They removed all of her super busted shit. She has directional audio now. Obviously, it's still far more in her control than yours, but she's the killer. It's supposed to have more... She's supposed to have more control over it. I don't know. I actually like going against Spirit now. I think she's pretty fun to go against, and she's still strong. She's just not like, you know, there's nothing you can do. Even MDR? Yeah, but even MDR they nursed. Cherry Blossom is pretty boring, I will agree, but even then, as long as you're at a pallet, if you're at a pallet and it's dropped, you should be able to react to her going left or right around the loop, and then that's where the skill comes in. Do you think she's going to go halfway and then double back to bait you into it? Or is she going to commit and then you do vault? Like, I don't know. I think there's actually a lot of interesting shit that goes on there. Spirit is C tier because audio never works in this game. Yeah, but that hurts the Spirit way more than that hurts the Survivor. Spirit is so fucked right now. When you phase right now, you hear your own husk going, hey. It's really annoying. So I would say that benefits the Survivor even more. That may be a hot take, but I legit think Spirit's A tier to go against. I actually really like going against Spirit. Nowadays, anyway. Legion, also possibly a hot take. I love going against Legion. Because Legion is one of the few killers in the game that just simply has to down you. They have to just chase you normal way. I feel like everybody that hates going against Legion is incredibly uncomfortable with remaining injured during a match. And they just don't know how to function while being injured. C or B because solo queue is garbage. That's a good point. All right, we'll give him an honorary drop down into B because, yeah, solo queue does make it a lot worse. But still, individually for me, I never mind going against Legion. Any killer in which I get to use the fundamental defenses of Survivor, looping and windows and pallets and things like that, any killer where I'm able to use all of those tools, I always consider to be fun. And then people just spend half the match, you know, like healing again because they have like, you know, some mangled add-on or a perk or something like that, and then they have to mend after that too. I don't even mend half the time. I just get hit and then I just keep repairing gens to the last second. Like, I don't know. I think if more people were smarter in their counterplay to Legion, people would enjoy going against Legion a lot more, but people are not very smart, so... I can't say they're not smart. They're not knowledgeable on the correct way to deal with Legion. Like, eventually you have to heal somebody if they want to go save or something like that, but... How dark the screen gets. Mending, yeah, does get a little spooky towards the end. The dark screen is very annoying. If they were smarter, no one would play Legion. Probably true. Plague. I kind of like going against Plague too, actually. It's A or B for me. Yeah, it's sort of the same deal as Legion. Except she's stronger than Legion, so I'd probably put her, like, below. Counters too many fun builds. Yeah, but she also doesn't do anything incredibly oppressive and unfair. I would say the only really boring thing she can do is confirm a kill once someone's got, like, 30 seconds left on hook or something like that. She has the most unique range killer. Main issue is accessibility. She's definitely the most unique range killer, I agree, yeah. When she has Eerie add-on that gives her power when you finish a den's really stupid, yes, that I would say her add-ons veer into too strong, which I would probably rate her higher if she didn't have those, but yeah, she does, so. I'm gonna put her right below Legion. I think it's the same kind of counterplay, but like a little different. Actually, it's even like, if you're smart against the plague, it's a lot easier to deal with because as long as you cleanse on a fountain that has like, you know, a generator that's done and the killer has no reason to patrol that area anymore, you can still cleanse. It's just people don't really know where to cleanse. Ghostface. Honestly, C or D for me. I fucking hate Ghostface. I swear to God, 90% of my downs are just me looking at him and then I get exposed and die. He's less annoying than Myers because at least my teammates can't fuck me over. And it's mostly just all up to me. So I feel like by default he has to be above Myers. But it's still incredibly frustrating. I feel like most of the time he downs me. I can physically see him, but the game doesn't think I can, so. It's pretty annoying. Tiered A tier, Dr. B tier? Yeah. What's wrong with Doctor? I mean, he's not super fun, but he's not super unfun either. Hey, Blat, thank you for the 18 months. Appreciate it. I do agree that Spirit being an A tier is a hot take. In fact, it's so hot, I'm dropping it down. I got to think about going against really good spirits. They're still going to shit on you. Okay, Demogorgon. Obviously S tier because he's a heckin' wholesome demo puppy. No, actually, he's actually really not that fun to go against. Even though I played a lot of Demogorgon, I don't think Demogorgon is super fun. I would probably put him like C tier. His zoning is just pretty free. If you have a straight line to a vault, you are probably just going to get hit. There's not much you can do about it. At least there's some defenses and you can even drop pallets, so you're not guaranteed to be hit, but... yeah, he's not actually that fun to go against. He can't zone you over obstacles? Sure, yeah. But like, you know, that's what I'm saying. You have to like kind of pre-drop against them a lot sometimes. So it's not really that great. Yeah? What? No, I'm recording. Sorry. Is this something important? Is something important? I'll look at it later. Yeah. I think that's fine. Thank you, Goose. Oni is maybe a hot take. I fucking love going against Oni. I absolutely love Oni. He is legit one of my favorite killers in the game to go against. Even when he's in his power, I think dodging him is one of the most fun things in the game. Like, expecting him to go around a corner of Shack and you crouch at the corner and they fly right by you. Like, I absolutely love that shit. I think Oni is super fun to go against. It can suck if your team feeds him a lot of blood early, but here's the thing. Even when he's in his power, I still like it. I still find it really fun. And I think actually spinning Onis is pretty easy because if you ever played Oni, when you do your charge attack, you occupy like 80% of your screen. So it's actually surprisingly easy to spin an Oni that's like charging his one shot because it's very obstructive on the screen. So I love Oni. I don't even think I need any further discussion there. I absolutely love Oni. Deathslinger is not as bad as he used to be. I'd say he's like B or C. Dude, old Deathslinger was F tier to go against. I'm zoning you. I think I'm just gonna put him in C. It's fun to dodge him, yeah, which is why he's not. I bet if we look at my last one, Deathslinger used to be a lot lower. He's a bit better now. Pyramid Head is... it can be, honestly, if they go through the wall shots and shit, A tier, but most of them just zone. they just hold their power then M on you. So because of that, it's probably like... yeah, it's in this section right here, I think. Not F tier, no way. Most just M2 fake, yeah. That's not very fun. But there is the potential for it to be fun, so which is why I'm not going to put it like down here or anything. Honestly, I'm putting him right next to Deathslinger. Blight. I feel like he's a B for me. If the Blight is really, really good, then you feel it's like going against a nurse. But I would say for most Blights, it's actually pretty fun. Yeah, the killer itself is fun, but the people who play Blight aren't. That's a really good way to put it. Blight, it just attracts so many sweaty people. I think we'll put him in B tier. Because he's still, you know, he still has actual counterplay now, and most of his busted add-ons are now gone. So I think B is fine. Twins is legitimately F tier in my opinion. Luckily, no one plays Twins, but Twins is one of the least fun killers in the entire game. A good Twins will never miss at point blank with Victor. And I don't know. It's essentially just guaranteed hits a lot, and they're the queen of slugging, so. Victor is F and Charlotte is D. How is Charlotte? Charlotte doesn't, it's just a no power killer. Yeah, Twins is miserable to go against, and I'm very glad more people don't play Twins. In solo queue, it's essentially impossible to beat against Twins. Trickster is D tier. Trickster fucking sucks. This is super boring. This is current Trickster. I know they're talking about maybe reverting him, but Trickster is, yeah, just, there's nothing fun about Trickster. It's the least fun projectile killer in the game. It's just all essentially, the only counterplay is hold W and then hope that there's walls in the way. That's it. It's not worth actively trying to, like, juke, because the distance you lose juking left and right, he's just catching up with you, and you're not, like, you're just going to get hit 0.3 seconds later, so it doesn't really even matter. It's almost like it's futile to try to dodge most knives. Obviously, if you're right about to be, you know, damaged, then you might want to try, but yeah, it's mostly important just getting distance, and that's really boring. He's incredibly good at proxy camping. He's incredibly good at tunneling. He's just, yeah, very boring. Nemesis. To go against is probably C tier. I love playing Nemesis, but he's not very fun to go against. And that's because individually in a chase, he is actually pretty damn oppressive. In terms of actually winning the match, he's not OP or anything. He's like B tier, but Oni and S, dude, I fucking love going against Oni. Oni is so fun. I actually legit think that, especially with the buff, Nemesis is, he's all right. Bring counter Force Goose skill issue. You know what? I'm putting him to B just because he has the Bubba effect. Bottom of B tier because of the Bubba effect. When a Nemesis tunnels, it's like watching a rainbow at Summer's Dew at 6 a.m. or something. It's a beautiful thing. Nemesis tunneling is like Bubba camping. It's so, I love it. I don't know why. Just watching him just go across the map to tunnel the person off the hook legitimately makes me smile, and it makes him more fun to go against. So I actually just think I'm going to raise him slightly because of that. I know that's such a stupid justification, but this is my own personal list, so I don't care. Pinhead is pretty boring. People that try to control the box most of the game are like D tier. His power itself is like C tier. The problem is almost every single Pinhead player doesn't actually try to aim the chains because it's too hard to do that. Aiming those chains is fucking impossible. So what they do is essentially they just play nurse. They just spawn it right on under you, and they just hit you point blank with the chains, which is not very fun. I don't think he's so miserable that he's D tier. I feel like I haven't gone enough Pinheads in a while. Maybe if I played against like 10 more or something like that, I would change my mind again, but I haven't gone against a Pinhead in months, seemingly. So over time, my amusement gets higher and higher the less I see them. So he probably would be D if I see him a lot, but I don't, so he's C right now. Artist is legitimately awful to go against if they know what they're doing. This is another case of no one plays her, but she's legit like D tier. And again, I'm so glad more people do not play Artist. She is awful to go against. If you're good at Artist, yeah, you're going to get a hit at essentially every single loop, every time. I played her for like 3 months straight, and I stopped playing because I felt bad. What about Sniper Bird? Sniper Bird is fun, and that's mostly what I tried, but I can't pretend that most people are just going to not play in the super boring way. I think Artist is not fun at all. Nemi at B is wild. Yeah, no, I understand. He is like right here. he's probably more like C, but this is literally just personal bias. Sadako is whatever. I mean, she's fine. She can't really do the Giga Condemn shit anymore, but she's not. Her power is kind of boring too. She's okay, I guess. I don't really have a huge problem with her. I'm actually going to put her in C only because of the tape priority over every item in the game. So if you have any build that involves an item, you can't really do it against her, and that makes it pretty boring. But she's not, like, miserable to go against or anything. She's just sort of whatever. Dredge. Dredge is also not very fun. Dredge sucks ass. I think Dredge is a weak killer. But his counterplay essentially boils down to 50-50 at loops. over and over again until he eventually hits you. Yeah, his anti-loop is not very fun or even good. It's not even good for the dredge. It's really boring. What about chaining loops against him? Yeah, you can do that. I feel like he's like high C tier. Well, let's see. Who do we have in B tier? You'll notice like most of them don't really have strong anti-loop. That's, well, I mean, Nemesis kind of does. I don't know. This one's kind of hard. I don't go against that many dredges either. Dredge is more fun than Legion. I don't know that I agree with that. Legion has to still obey the laws of the game and chase you, whereas Dredge can just put a remnant down and run you into it and cut you off and hit you. I'm going top of C. Wesker is still definitely fun as hell. Honestly, probably still S tier, in my opinion. I just genuinely love going against Wesker. I think the counterplay to him is pretty much the exact same. In fact, they made it a bit more pleasant to go against him by reducing the infection off of Hook now, which is nice. I think that's a pretty solid S tier. Wesker has been a gold standard for good killer design for a long time. Wesker players have an ego problem? You know what I noticed? Most Wesker players nowadays just throw the entire match trying to slide off shit. And honestly, it's really fun trying to, like, loop that because it's terrifying. Most Weskers nowadays are just fucking around and just sliding off of shit. I think it's pretty fun. Oh, you mean literally Albert Wesker? Okay, yeah, he does. Yeah, I think that's good. Knight is definitely D tier. There's nothing engaging about Knight, but at least he's, you know, not OP or anything. And he can't really hold a Giga 3 gen anymore, so that's keeping him at F tier. But Knight is extremely boring. I don't even think I have to really discuss why. You guys know why he's boring. Skull Merchant nowadays is... I mean, she used to be F tier, but she's probably D tier now. She's probably more fun than Knight, to be honest. I think she's actually higher than Knight nowadays. But she's just so much weaker to the point where at least you can, like, bully her a bit, and that's the fun. I guess it's just being able to bully a woman. As, you may quote me on that. Bullying women is always cool. Same level as Freddy, she just kind of does nothing. Yeah, exactly. Singularity. Maybe a hot take. I don't think Singularity is that fun to go against at all, actually. I think a good Singularity is actually pretty miserable to go against. Because if they're good, you can't really stop them. They're just going to relentlessly be on you unless you have teammates that are constantly EMPing you. But good Larrys will just be relentless on you until you just go down. And essentially, your only counterplay is pre-dropping a pallet. Which is not great. Very map dependent for sure. Is a good Spirit fun to play against? No, which is why I dropped her down. I had her at A tier and I dropped her down to B because, yeah, a good Spirit is not fun to go against. Above Nemesis but below Blight? I don't agree. I genuinely think a good Singularity leaves you with very little options other than pre-dropping pallets, and that's it. I'm actually going to keep him there. Ghostface and C is a joke. How so, Goat? About my personal opinions on fun and killers. Xenomorph is pretty boring as well. He's like somehow more boring Nemesis. But hill teching with turrets is really fun. So I'm trying to think. I'd say he's like the bottom of C tier. His counterplay loops is essentially just guess, but at least it's something. All the bottom tiers are zoning killers. Surprising, isn't it? I mean, not all of them. Some or most of them are, but yeah. I think he's C tier. Not all maps have hills. I know, I'm just saying. Chucky is borderline F tier in my opinion, but making him miss attacks is pretty fun, but Chucky sucks to go against. I can't give him F. F is just too much because at least stunning him is hilarious. But yeah, nowadays Chucky is... Honestly, I think old Chucky I put also in D tier because it's essentially They just traded the scamper bullshit into just him having his power every 8 seconds. So I think Chucky is really, really boring to go against. And the problem is, for some reason, there are 0 chill Chuckies. Every single Chucky is in a tournament for some reason. Yeah, they all run rat poison, every single one of them. I don't know what it is about Chucky's personality, but like every Chucky is such a dick. Maybe they're just role playing. I don't know, man. But it's just every Chucky is such a fucking asshole. Every single one. There are no chill Chuckies. In fact, if there were more chill Chuckies, he'd probably be much higher in here. But because of that, yeah, Chucky is just... Honestly, I think he's lower than Skull Merchant now. What a world, right? What an absolute world. Role plays an excuse? Uh-huh. Unknown. I like going against Unknown. I think Unknown's pretty cool. I think the counterplay of looking behind you to what he's going to bounce off of is nice. I think being able to run into him, but not so far that you run out of range of the pallet to drop it again is good. Predicting his teleports can be pretty fun. Yeah, I think overall his projectile is a fun power to deal with. I think that's cool. Vecna is... I think I really enjoy playing as Vecna, but Vecna's sort of like a flowchart. He's going to flight at a window, so you can't take the window or you'll medium vault it and get M1'd. But then if you're too close to the pallet, he'll mage hand it and hit you that way. He really is just like a flowchart. But the items can be really fun to fuck around with. I feel like he's kind of like bottom of B tier. I do really enjoy getting to fuck around with the other hand and the eye. And trying dumb shit with that. No, Deathslinger's not F tier. He used to be, but not anymore. Dracula is probably D tier as well, to be honest. At least dodging Hellfire can be kind of fun, I guess. But even then, when you dodge it, he just... I feel like 90% of the sweaty Draculas I go against, they just raise up their hand, and I try to dodge their Hellfire, and then they just lower their hand and hit me. It's like, ooh, cool. That was amazing. Nemi's too high up. I know. I'm openly biased against them. I don't care. I think that's probably fair. Dracula's miserable to go against. Yeah, I almost want to make a video about Dracula and Spirit and compare their powers and then just ask the question how any of this makes sense. Because he's just better than Spirit and has 2 other powers as well. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So either Spirit needs to be buffed or Dracula needs to be nerfed. There's no world in which they should both exist in the same way. I think it's alright, though. Again, Nemesis is probably more like here. I think that's completely fair to say Nemesis is more like here. But I love Nemesis, so I'm extremely biased. I think it's pretty decent, though. So S tiers, we got Bubba, Oni, and Wesker, to no one's surprise. A tier, Billy, Unknown, Huntress. Huntress is probably controversial for some people, especially with Desync right now. B tier, we got Dr. Spirit, Blight, Freddy, Legion, Plague, Pig, Nemesis, Vecna. C tier, Turkey Leg, Singularity, Sadako, Ghostface, Demo, Deathslinger, Pyramid Head, Wraith, Nurse, Pinhead. Yeah, honestly, I feel like Doctor, I agree. I think Doctor is too high. Because there's not much to Doctor. Like, think about what's happening in a loop versus Doctor. He shocks you, he gets slightly closer. He shocks you, he gets slightly closer. He shocks you, he gets slightly closer. Then he hits you, and then you go to the next loop. It's like, it's really not that exciting. Honestly, I gotta drop Doctor down a lot. Pig should be higher here. I'm not really organizing these horizontally, I've noticed. It's just sort of whatever. You shouldn't pay too much attention to the left and right here. I think that's overall fair. That's crazy, though. We only actually have one F-tier killer now. Well, at least in my opinion. People really not like going against Artist? No, going against Artist is really shit. Going against Artist is super, super shit. But most people don't play Artist or even know how to play Artist, so you don't have to worry about it very often, which is nice. Where would OG Legion would be F tier. OG Legion would be 100% F tier. Old Skull Merchant is F tier. Those are probably like the only 3 F tier things that have ever actually existed. F tier is like really, really bad. Like you fucked up in this design so bad. Forever Freddy? Nah, that was more like D tier. That was more perk design than Freddy itself. Legion's way too high? I don't agree. I really like going against Legion. I think Oni's too high. People hate flicks and getting punished by their teammates not playing well. Usually do well against Oni. I think maybe culling my rating a bit. Yes, that is in fact how subjective tier lists for fun go, derp. What does that mean? This is literally which killers I find fun to go against. So typically it's going to be based off of how fun I find the killer. Why is Wraith the C? Because hit and run Wraith is very boring. Should Wesker be higher S than Oni? Again, don't pay attention to the left and right. I'm not organizing them like that way. You don't like the suspense aspect of Alien with turret detection? Kind of a bit fun? Nah, not really. Why is Trapper so low compared to Freddy? Because Trapper essentially has no intentional counterplay. You just run into a loop that you couldn't see a trap in because there's grass and you just die. It's not very fun. Well, desync makes me like Huntress less too. I know that sounded like an objective take, but no, that's also subjective because desync also affects me as well. Wouldn't Bubba go down because chance of camping? Are we not counting that? Oh no, we're definitely counting that. 100%. The fact of the matter is you can't Insidious camp with Bubba anymore. That playstyle just simply doesn't work anymore. Anti-camp bar will let you unhook yourself. But even if they do, I still like it. I don't know, I'm weird. There's something about Bubba I just find endlessly fun to go against. I don't really care how they even play. Is the solo queue? Yeah, I'm basing this pretty much off of solo queue. Why is Nurse so high? Because a bad to average Nurse can be actually very fun to go against because it's a very different kind of game. And a very good Nurse will end the game in a minute or two anyway, so you don't have to suffer for very long. Anti-camp works not in your game. I mean, if they're Insidious face camping you, it'll definitely work. Now, teammates might fuck you over by hovering over and just ruining it, but that's the teammate's fault. But solo queue, how is Bubba in S tier? Bubba will always be in S tier no matter what. I'm no further questions. Not face camp, then Insidious thing just 15 meters away. If they're 15 meters away, then you can still safely unhook them. Like, you'll probably die, but he won't be able to hit you and hit the person and then hit the person again. As long as you split up immediately on unhook, yeah, you'll die. But as long as you delta split, one goes left, one goes right, he can't hit both of you. Now, if you're in like some big fuck off basement that has like a long entrance or something like that, then yeah, that's a bit different, obviously. Like if you're like the Grim Pantry basement or, you know, something like that, or like an RPD basement, then yeah, you're probably pretty screwed. With Forced Hesitation, he downs both of you. Forced Hesitation would probably make that, well, it depends who he downs first. Yeah, I guess. Forced Hesitation can make that possible. I'm just saying, personally, I haven't gone against a camping Bubba in like, I don't even remember. It's at least been months. So it's not really a pressing issue. Why is Freddy so high? Because he's essentially just a powerless killer. You get to do the fundamentals of Dead by Daylight with him. You just get to use all your loops. You get to use all your perks, pallets, windows, vaults, everything. You just get to basically just use every tool that you normally have in the game, and you can't really do much about it. Vecna should be high B. Having played a bunch of Vecna, it really does come down to a flowchart, and I think that's what limits it. There's a correct choice to make at this window, a correct choice to make at this palette, and that's it. What are my thoughts on Chucky? Chucky is miserable to go against. His power is almost impossible to counter as long as, you know, the Chucky knows what they're doing. Most Chuckies are incredibly sweaty. They always play like dicks. He gets his power back every fucking 8 seconds. It's rough. Very rough to go against. Not to mention him just being short lets him mind game by doing nothing. I'd rather play against Freddy over Pinhead. Yes. Not a fan of Singularity. I like playing a Singularity, but the truth is, even a decent Singularity, you can't get away from one. Your only option is to just pre-drop pallets. Because if you drop it on him, obviously it's not going to do anything. If you don't drop it, he'll just run through it and hit you. Try to use a window or something like that. He can vault as fast as you nearly. I mean, it's really not much you can do once you're already tagged by a Singularity, you know? You basically need teammates to help out with the EMPs. I think most people do, Sudden. I think most people do not enjoy going against Chucky. I don't even think it's a hot take at all. Twins is pretty rough. Yeah, Twins is, in my opinion, the worst killer in the game to go against now. Now that they've made Skull Merchant kind of shit, to be honest. I think Twins is the worst killer in the entire game to go against. Playing against Knight's actually fun. Yeah, I can just simply never agree with that. I'm at Shaq. He puts guard on left side. I'm forced to exit right side. I go right side. I get hit by Knight. I go left. I get hit by guard. I lose no matter what I do. I will never find a way to see that as fun. Does Ghostface C tier take into account the Ghostface that increase the fun factor by teabagging when they get downs? No, but you can do that. That's fine. What's up with Twins right now? Nothing. Twins has just always been miserable to go against. Just no one plays Twins. But Dracula at B, at least you have some leverage when dodging his abilities. The problem is there's not really much of a penalty to Dracula if you, like... If the Dracula is not confident in a Hellfire hit, he just doesn't have to Hellfire. He can just hit you in the face. He can just lower his hand again. Also, sometimes the Hellfire doesn't even make sounds, so you don't even know when he's raising his hand. It doesn't make sounds through walls, like, ever. Audio occlusion completely fucks that. Like, I don't know. I don't like Dracula at all. Dracula is very uninteresting. And you know what? Even if he fucks up all of that and you make distance, bat form for 5 seconds and he's on your ass again. Like, it doesn't even matter at that point. What's your reasoning behind Pig? Because she doesn't really have any overtly oppressive anti-loop, and the anti-loop that she does have is pretty interesting because you have to, like, guess whether she's going to go one way and then whip back around the other side of the loop with ambush. She doesn't really have the insane screen build anymore to get head pops, so, I mean, overall, she's just not as much of a problem. Why is Myers so low while the average Myers is stupid as fuck in terms of intelligence? It doesn't matter how stupid they are. If they have a 99 tier 3 and no Teridius and they walk up to you and hit you before you can even hear the heartbeat, how is that fun? Or they walk up to you and hit Tombstone on you and you just die instantly. It's just... Myers has a lot of very unfun shit. I should really reconsider Slinger again. Nah, I'm good. Here. Even though the horizontal doesn't matter. Does it make you happier? Your Maze Tombstone piece is still in the game. Same, actually. I am. I think I'm happy with this. Again, this is a subjective tier list. Obviously, people will disagree. It is physically impossible to have a fun tier list because everyone's perspective of what is fun is going to be completely different. So this is not meant to be seen as, like, you know, a true